My relatively modern digital TV is always on standby. Indeed, it doesn't appear to have an on and off switch. I'm guessing that it doesn't have any thermionic valves to warm up. So why does it take so long to fire up when I turn it on from its standby position? Well, you're absolutely right. Thermionic valves are a thing of the past and no modern television has them anymore. But what the modern television does have is a computer, and much of the delay is the operating system of the computer starting up when you switch it on. Now this varies because it appears that some televisions the operating system starts as soon as you switch the television on, and in others it seems to boot up the operating system when you go into the smart menus. But televisions now vary a great deal in the amount of time it takes them to start up. If, however, your television did at one time start up fast and it now is very slow, then there are a number of possibilities. One is that you need to always make sure that the software for the television is the latest version, and the other is it could indicate a possible fault in the internal power supply of the television, in which case you need to get a TV technician to have a look at it for you. DAB radio and FM radio run a second or so apart. Which time signal is correct, and why don't the BBC put a delay in the DAB signal so that they both are in synchronization? Well, DAB stands for Digital Audio Broadcast, and when the signal is sent from the transmitter to your receiver, it has to be encoded into a digital stream, and the receiver has to decode that stream, and this is where the delay comes from. On FM radio, there is no delay, so the pips you hear on the radio are very accurate, plus or minus, of course, the speed of sound, propagation time, which is negligible. But the delay on the DAB radio can vary. So if, for instance, they sent the time signals a bit early to try and allow for the delay of the digital transmission, it may be correct on some devices, but not others. You often hear it quoted that the delay is a second or so, but in the next section you'll see that I actually measured my FM portable radio and my portable DAB radio, and you'll see that the delay is actually more than we think. Now, to do this, I connected both my radios to a 4-track recorder to make sure that the files I had were exactly in synchronization, so that I really was measuring the delay. And now we'll move on to the next section and you'll see how I achieve this. Here I have two recordings which I've put into Audition, and the first one is from my FM radio and the second one is from my DAB radio. They're both just portable radios, and you can see the first one, the FM one, is only in mono, the DAB one's in stereo. Now I've got the DAB radio muted, so let's listen to this phrase we're going to use to try and measure the delay between the FM radio and DAB radio. So I'll play this for you now. Here it is.
The second time he just goes for broke and she will kill him.
Play you that once more. Here's the phrase the second time.
The second time he just goes for broke and she will kill him.
Okay, and now we need to look for that in the other recording. So I'm going to unmute the DAB radio and mute the FM radio.
At it. Even though he might be wounded, the second time
Ah, here it is.
he manifested. The second time he just goes for broke.
Yep, second time he just goes for broke. Now, just to clarify what that was a recording, it's actually about the sex life of a spider, so don't get worried, nobody's being killed. Just see if we can find our phrase again. We're going to unmute that, mute that. Here we are.
The second time he just goes for broke and she will kill him.
Now, as we saw, this is where it starts on the DAB radio. So I'm going to make a selection here from here to there. And I'll try and get that as accurate as possible. Let's move the cursor out of the way. That's what we're going to be measuring. Now, if we look down here, this gives you the duration of the selection, and you can see it is actually 2.828 seconds. 2.828 seconds. Quite a long time, isn't it? Most people think it's only about a second, but in this particular radio, it's 2.8 seconds. Now, of course, that does vary between radios. It depends on the processing time of the radio. And also, of course, it would vary if you were listening to a DAB radio channel on your television. So it's impossible to have accurate pips on DAB radios, because if they tried to send out the pips slightly early on the DAB radio channel, then of course it would not only mess up the broadcast that they were sending, they'd have to leave a space, big space to put it in, but of course it would still be wrong, because not all DAB receivers would have the same amount of delay